Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thousands of memories are created and captured in each photo taken on your magical vacation. We proudly present Capturing Magic, where we help those moments live on forever.
Hey everyone, welcome to Capturing Magic, where we are using technology to create and capture magic memories. This is episode 14, recorded on Monday, January 21st, 2013. You can find more tips, tricks, and notes for this show at capturingmagic.me. I am Steph, and I am joined by my co-host, Brittney Leavitt, who can be found at britishdesigns.com, where she creates digital scrapbook supplies. Hi, Brittney.
Hi, Steph.
We just had to do a do-over of our intro, so.
I know, I'm like, yay, we made it through the
We made it! Okay. And it's good to be back because it's been a couple of weeks since we've recorded together, so.
I know. I've missed talking to you, Steph.
Thank you. I missed recording a show, so it's good. I love talking about Disney. It's good to be back.
Yeah.
We have joining us also today our guest, Katrina Kennedy, who can be found at captureyour365.com. Hi, Katrina.
Hi, Steph. And I feel like I just got to talk to you.
I know. You were on the
you,
Digi
though.
show last week.
Yes.
And it was a live show that we recorded down at CHA, actually in the Paradise Pier Hotel, which was a lot of fun.
It was so fun. And it was so good to see you again and spend time with you at Disneyland. That was a blast.
So fun. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit today. It was super fun to be able to meld my favorite things together, digital scrapbooking and my digital scrapbooking peeps with Disney. So definitely. And then you also, we need to share with our listeners, you write Disney photography tips at capturingmagic.me as well.
I sure do. And they're fun.
Great. Yeah, you do a great job. And then you also have at captureyour365.com. It is basically a community and website for people that are interested in doing or learning more about 365, Project 365, but also photography in general.
Yeah, it's really about everyday photography and however you define your everyday photography. So some people take that as a 365 project. Some people take it as project life. Some people take it as a photo when they can grab it. So it's really how helping people get the most out of their cameras and their lives.
That's perfect. And you also have classes that you teach there. And I need to share with everybody that I was on a digital SLR. I was using a digital SLR for 7 years before I was able to go to manual mode. And I had taken different classes and things. And it was finally you taking a class with you actually in Vegas almost a year ago that was able to move me to manual mode, and which was an exciting moment for me.
It was an exciting moment to watch. And, for a lot of people, it is just hearing that one thing at the right time, adding it to everything else you've learned that does it.
It finally all of a sudden clicked for me. And I was like, what? This is easy. And I still, because we did a photo walk in Disneyland, and when we were there, you were explaining something to me, and I go, I don't know what all of the numbers mean and how, like if you say move your aperture, this way or that, I don't know how to do that, but I know how to use manual, and I'm more comfortable in it now. Like if I move to one of the TV modes or any of those other modes, I struggle with it a little bit more now than I do manual.
Yeah. And so your natural next step, now that you understand what's happening with your light meter and manual, your natural next step is to really figure out what the apertures and the shutter speeds are, because then that opens up complete creative freedom for you.
I know. And I'm excited to get there.
It is exciting. It is your opportunity to take total control of what you produce out of your camera. It's cool stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about one of the classes that you have going on that people can hurry and register for quickly today, I think, when this show airs, right?
Right. We're going to, the registration for that class will close on Friday. And it is Your Kids Captured Through the Lens. And it's a great class. If you have kids, obviously, there are people in class who don't have kids, who just borrow them or find them wherever they can. And it's really for those people who have not ventured off of auto mode yet, but are ready. We go through aperture priority mode and shutter priority mode, all looking at different ways to photograph your children with cooperation and without cooperation, and lots of creative ways of making that happen. And it's a natural, easy 6-week online class that steps people into the next class, which is Your Life Captured Through the Lens, which is all about moving you off of auto mode to full manual mode.
And this is the class that I did a long time ago, but I actually want to go through it again because I want to review some of the tips that you have because it's really interesting. Techniques to avoid the cheesy grin, capturing candid moments. I mean, all of these things are really great tips and tools that I need. And so I've got to go back and review them again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I need to take this class, Katrina, because I'm exactly at that stage where I kind of get I kind of understand manual mode, but I just don't really use it as much, and because I haven't had that moment where it all clicks together. So it sounds like this is the class I need to take.
Well, that would be excellent. And a lot of people do have it really, they figure it out. And it's helpful for me to explain it, but it's also helpful to have a community of people who are trying to figure it out together, because sometimes it's not my direction that will help people. It's the person in class who explains it in a slightly different way that clicks for you. And that's my favorite part of class. And really, even if for your kids captured through the lens, you can take it with any camera. You don't have to want to get off of manual mode. In fact, one of the things we talk about in class is how with children, sometimes manual mode just isn't practical. So knowing the other modes that your camera can use and how to make the most of those can be really helpful.
I agree. And so the class is $64, and you said registration will close on Friday.
Right. Class will start tomorrow. The first lesson will go out tomorrow morning, but anyone can register through Friday, and you'll still have access and get everything that everybody else is.
Perfect. So everyone needs to go check that out. Just go to captureyour365 /classes/ your kids. And we will also put a link to that in the capturingmagic.me show notes. So yeah, perfect. Okay, we're ready to launch into our discussion topic, I believe, unless I'm forgetting something. I'm a little out of practice, so Brittney, you have to call me on it if I'm missing something.
Oh, I think we're ready.
Okay. So we did a photo walk when we were down at CHA. And for those that might not be craft enthusiasts, CHA is a Craft and Hobby Association show, and it's just for vendors and stores, I guess, kind of people that are going to be buying big amounts of products. It's not for regular consumers. And then we attended as press. And so we were down there for that. But we also did a photo walk in Disneyland, kind of through Fantasyland and the castle and some of those areas. And so we were going to talk a little bit about that because Katrina was with us. There were some digital scrapbooking people that came and attended, and then also some people from the capturingmagic.me team. Tanya was there, and she brought her boyfriend along, and Heather Hess, who is going to be joining the Capturing Magic team, was there as well, and she brought her hilarious husband, and it was a fun time. Right, Katrina?
It was. I muted. We had a train went by, so I muted. So
okay.
Like, okay, don't say anything yet because you're going to hear the train. Yeah, I had such a good time. Photo walks for me always have their own personality and flavor. So doing one through Disneyland was definitely the most unique. And maybe the most challenging, but also the most fun that I've done.
Yeah, it was a little challenging. I agree.
Yeah, I think everybody was afraid to, maybe not afraid, but, typically with a photo walk, you do kind of spread out and people ask questions, but I think we were all just a little hesitant that we would spread out and lose each other in the afternoon crowd. So we kind of stayed together more. Yeah,
because we met in front of the castle around 3-ish, I think.
It was right at 3:00. We timed it so that the light would just be about ideal light going into the golden hour so that we would have that absolutely on our side.
Yeah. And it was, and we did did we do a group shot in front of the castle? I think we forgot, actually.
We did not do a group shot in front of the castle. Originally, the plan had been to end in front of the castle, and I thought by then, the crowd would be a little less and we'd get the great light. But I completely failed to plan for the parade that was going to happen at the end of the walk, which totally threw us off, so we didn't make it back to the castle for the group shot.
Yeah, because we all kind of got stuck, actually, because of the parade, and we couldn't do everything that we were going to do. But we went through the castle and into Fantasyland, and just kind of everyone started clicking and taking shots. And I think you're right. We were a little bit nervous to spread out because we were worried about losing each other, and it was not. We weren't in a situation where we could holler out to you, "Hey, Katrina, I have a question,"
Right. So everybody did kind of bundle together. But I think it was fun. I think also, too, the fact that so many of us knew each other online but haven't spent any or much time together in person, it was still fun to be together.
Yeah.
And I think, in fact, there were a few people who were doing more like talking and being together than photographing, which was awesome as well.
Yeah, for sure.
I won't name names.
No, I won't either. I'm tempted, but I won't. Yeah, it was unique for that reason, because a lot of us it was the first time we had seen each other in real life. And so, for that reason, it was a little bit challenging, because I wanted to visit with everyone, but I really wanted to take advantage of the time that I had you to help me in Disneyland take better photos. And so one of the things that you worked with me on that I was so excited about and turned out to be way easier than I ever would have imagined was you showed me how to get a shot of the carousel and get one of the horses in focus, but everything else blurred. Even the stuff that was on the carousel or not on the carousel, whatever, everything else was motion blurred.
Exactly. And you did a beautiful job. That's called a panning shot.
Thank you.
And what was that?
Thank you. I didn't know the name.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a panning shot, and it is so it can be really tricky, but you just nailed it. And it is just about getting your shutter speed right with the movement of the carousel, and everything just came together for you, and you created a beautiful, beautiful image. And it's kind of that classic carousel photo that you see in publications and things, because you can take it with the people that aren't even related to you, and you don't see their faces. And I think you got over the fact that you were taking pictures of strangers fairly quickly. So,
well, after doing the app, I'm way over that, because, and then taking pictures of mini me in the park as well. I'm over people worrying about what I'm taking pictures of. I figure if anyone has a problem with it, they'll send security after me, and I haven't had that happen yet. So
exactly. Well, and Disneyland, one of the beautiful places or things about it that I discovered getting ready for the walk, I spent about 2 hours just walking the path that I was going to take everybody on and taking my own photos and just kind of being there. And it was the first time I've ever been in the park without my son. And at first I was really uncomfortable. And then I realized, okay, this is ridiculous. Everybody here thinks I'm with somebody.
Exactly.
Everybody thinks I'm pointing the camera at somebody, and it's so busy and people are moving so fast, nobody really cares. And so I think it's a really fun, easy place to just do even your own personal photo walk, where you take photos of whatever you want and nobody's going to think you're weird or stop you. Where if you're on the street and you start taking photos of signs or random stuff, somebody's going to ask. Somebody's going to think you're a little strange.
Yeah, well, and if you go to a park, say, and stand there for 20 or 30 minutes taking pictures of kids on the carousel at the park, the merry-go-round at the park, people are going to think you're a little nutty, because they're going to realize that you don't have a kid there. But at Disneyland, no one's going to notice that you've been there for 20 or 30 minutes by the carousel and you don't have a kid on it.
Exactly. I that's exactly it. Yeah. If you were in a park, there would be somebody actually calling the police and having a conversation with you.
Yes.
Yeah. Disneyland is like a photographer's playground. And I have seen, because I guess they stand out to me, but I see people walking around that I know are there by themselves doing photography there every time I go. And It's just a fun place to take pictures. It was like the first place we wanted to go when we got our DSLR. When we first got it, we were like, okay, now we have to go to Disneyland.
That's awesome.
To play.
It's funny. I bought my first DSLR. Funny that you'd say that, Brittney, that my very first my very first digital camera was an Olympus. And I literally bought it, and I'm going to get this year wrong. I think I bought it in 1998. And it was one of the very, very first. It was probably like 2 megapixels. And we bought it because we were going to Disney World. And I thought, well, I'm gonna do this. It's this cool new technology. And I remember taking pictures and people being like, "What? You're looking at your picture on your camera?" And like, my whole trip to Disney World became about this camera I was carrying.
That's funny.
That now has horrible pictures that are not visible, but it's fun.
That's really funny.
That's fun.
So after we did the motion shots, I guess, at the carousel, and then we did it at Dumbo as well.
Right, and Dumbo's a little trickier because you've got movement going a couple of ways, but you nailed that one too. I think it was aided by the light being really perfect and your willingness to play with the shutter speed in shutter priority mode, which is
so nice.
Oh no,
because really, I think it was aided by the fact that Katrina was standing over my shoulder saying, "Okay, try this. Okay, try this. Okay."
Yeah, but you're not sharing the part of the story that I wasn't going to share, in that I had my camera with me and I was taking the same photo and I couldn't get it to work.
What? I didn't know that.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I have no photos of Dumbo that I'm happy with because I kept taking it. I'm like, okay, this is just poo. And finally I gave up and I just watched you, and that's when I said, well, can I have your photos so I can write a post about them?
I thought that you were just too busy helping other people.
Well, part of it was I was carrying a behemoth of a lens, which was just silly, and I wasn't taking my own advice, and I wasn't getting any results. And I'm everywhere when I'm on a photo walk. I really don't focus a lot on what I'm doing. I love, and I think you guys saw, I love to take photos of other people taking photos when I'm on a photo walk, because so much of my photography is about the people. It's hard for me to do the stuff when I've got the people. Yeah. That's
fun for the rest of us to have pictures of ourselves, taking pictures. That's always fun.
Exactly. I think so too.
Yeah. And then I guess we took a few shots of the parade and the teacups. And I think one thing I ought to mention though, is you're going to do a post on capturing magic, and you'll probably end up putting is the timing and stuff in that post so how people can replicate that with the carousel?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll share the shutter speeds that work for the carousel and that can work for Dumbo as well. And then the teacups they're a little bit different because you're kind of going for more blur with the teacups than really a panning shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will definitely share those.
The teacups I struggled with because just as they would start to get going fast enough and I could figure out the rhythm, because it's not only just the spinning around in a circle, but it's coming at you in different ways. And so I'd figure out the rhythm and then they'd stop the ride.
Right. Which happens with the carousel too. You'll get the timing down at just right, and then they'll slow it, and you've got to wait through the whole processes of them getting kids on and restarting it to get back up to speed. And with the teacups, I think the trick with the teacups is to have something in the foreground that is not moving. And then when you focus on that thing that's not moving in the foreground, then you get all of the movement in the background and you kind of get that really fun blur. You're not going to do a panning shot so much with the teacups because they don't have that set pattern, which is what you really need. Yeah. You need that set pattern to follow when you're doing a panning photo.
Yeah. So yeah, and then we went over to, while the parade was going on, we went back over to Small World and then did some dark ride photography, which was a lot of fun too.
That was probably the most unique photography instruction I've ever done, from the middle of a boat and
people in front of you. But we took up a whole boat pretty much.
We did. I think there was one one row, poor 3 people who were probably wondering what ride they'd actually gotten on with us. So,
yeah. So you were in the middle and you had people in front of you asking questions and me behind you asking questions, and
exactly.
we were all just shooting like crazy, and it was fun.
Yeah, and Small World's really kind of a unique and fun ride to take low light photos on because it's not consistent light. It's it's low light and it's bright light, and especially since it still had the holiday decorations, there were moments when it's really, really fairly bright, and you could get really nice photos without having to do all that much work with your settings. So I think I joked, a lot of you were trying to set in manual mode, and I joked, but I was not kidding that I did that ride in aperture priority mode just so that I didn't have to be switching things around quite as much and let the camera do some of the work.
Yeah, it was hard to be moving back and forth as quickly as you need to in that ride because the light does change so much. Right. For sure. Okay, so let's talk about, I think that's pretty much it from our photo walk, right?
I think so, yeah.
Are either of you going to write like a little, because it would be fun to see pictures of who was there. And Katrina, you said you took pictures of people taking pictures. Like, I feel like somebody should write a post on the Capturing Magic blog about the photo walk so we can see all of that.
I think Katrina's going to do something.
Good.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. For my next post, that'll be all about the photo walk and
good.
And include some tips on kind of replicating your own photo walk there,
so people can do it themselves next time they go.
And when is your next post, Katrina?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Let's see. It's a couple weeks away.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. I'm the world's worst at remembering. I just like Steph to have to send me an email and say, Katrina, remember.
I know it's usually like the end of the month, right?
Yeah, yes.
The beginning of the month. You're the daily digi, the end of the month. I guess we should mention that too, because you do really great posts at the daily digi as well.
Yeah, thank you. Those and there are a lot of them there. I've been writing there for a long time. So
there's only like I think 3 so far that you've done for Capturing Magic, but every time they come up, every time I read it, I'm like, okay, that just changed my life. Like that changed how I'm going to carry, like the last one you did about how to carry your DSLR at Disneyland. I was like, okay, that's changed my whole life.
Wow. So let's talk about that. What changed things for you, Brittney?
For me? Yeah. Well, we've talked about this on a previous show, how I need to just try to carry my DSLR on me the whole time because who mentioned that? Was it Kim in the past that mentioned she does that? I think it was Kim.
It was Kim.
And I thought, okay, I need to try that, but I was still kind of like iffy on it. But after reading Katrina's post, I felt like it was just doable and it made sense. Like it gave me the kind of push to like, okay, I'm going to try that. Instead of taking it in and out of my bag and taking different lenses, blah, blah, blah. It changed it totally. Me,
you just don't need that hassle.
Yeah.
There's so much going on and things happen so quickly that it just won't work. And that was one of the things on the photo walk for me that really got in the way. I didn't take my own advice, and I carried my camera bag with me with the intent of getting photos for posts and doing some portrait work for a couple of people, and so I have 3 lenses with me. I have my camera, and anytime I went to take a photo of anything, I'm like, oh, I have the wrong lens. Oh, I have the wrong lens. So I spent half my time changing lenses. I understand how ridiculous that is, but I was still doing it because I had them all with me. Where if I was just carrying the camera and had one lens, I would just make it work. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had for a long time my one lens that I call my theme park lens because it's a wide range and does a lot of stuff. I don't even remember the numbers on it. I don't have my camera in here, but when I rented that extra wide angle lens, the super wide angle lens that I took with me to do the photos for the Capturing Magic apps, I can almost not handle the idea of going to the parks without that lens.
Yeah.
And after going, back down there, it was great. I mean, I liked having that other lens for some shots, but I wished that I would have had my super wide angle far more than when I went to Disney World and just had my super wide angle lens and made it work.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me because I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah, well, when I looked through the photos that I took from our weekend together and from the photo walk, it really is it's my wide angle photos that I love the most. Some of my favorite, we took a group shot in front of It's a Small World, and nobody really believed me that everybody was going to be in the photo when I held it out. And, we're all in it with all this extra space as well. And just fun. You can really do a lot. You can get really close, and so you can get some detail shots, and you can get that really big picture view as well, which I think in the park is so important.
I think there's a link to that lens on your how to carry your DSLR post.
I linked to the lens I used, and I think the lens that Steph used, I think I want to say it was an 18 to 200 that you were carrying last weekend. Yeah, which is a really nice range to have. I don't know what you rented though, Steph. Do you remember?
It is a 12 to 17, I think.
Oh wow, that's really wide.
Yeah. Or 12 to 17. I'm pretty sure there's a link in one of our shows because I used it as a pic. I can link back up to that, but it's Yeah,
and that's quite a bit wider. Mine's 17 to 40, which is at the 17 end. That's still pretty wide. So 12 that's huge.
I loved it. Yeah, it's a nice lens. So I'm hoping to be able to buy it soon. I decided that when I went down there this time, I'm like, I am not renting that lens one more time because I've almost paid for it twice by renting it. But I'm going to wait and just buy it. But okay, so let's talk about we talked about the DSLR stuff. What are your 5 tips? Your 5 Disney photography tips?
Well, we've said one of them already, which is definitely wear your camera, so that it's you're not digging for it. It's really comfortable. You can grab it easily. My second tip is to look for light, and that doesn't mean sunlight, bright light. That means more like in the shadow, even late afternoon light, light that isn't so super super bright. So say you've got your kids and you're outside by a ride, step under the shade just a little bit and you're going to love your photos so much more. And like the carousel, if you're there during the day, go to the shaded side and you're going to get better photos. And then with that is to keep your subject's eyes to the light so that they are looking towards your light source. Now, that's why it's important to get them in the shade if it's bright sun so they're not squinting. But the rest of the time, if they're looking at the light, you've got more light on them and you're going to get a better exposure. You're just going to get a better photo altogether. And then I've given this one away already too, and that AV mode, your aperture priority mode, is really okay. When you're in the park, it's difficult to shoot in manual all the time. So rely on aperture priority so you still have some creative control. And don't be afraid to go to auto mode. I kept running into people that I knew and they'd say to me, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on auto. I'm on." It's okay. I'm not going to hold it against you if you go to auto. It's about the memory, right?
Yes.
And then I think one thing that's easy to overlook is the detail, and really look for details when you're in the park. Those small things while you're waiting for somebody to get, while you're waiting in line, while you're waiting for dinner, whatever it is that you end up waiting for. Look for the details of like signs and faces and the classic hidden Mickeys, just anything like that. They're such fun photos, and I think it gives us such a different way of experiencing the park when we really notice all of the small details.
Yeah, I agree, and those are fun to include in layouts or photo books too.
Exactly.
Yeah, the little details. I noticed in Fantasyland is because when we started, that's what we were all doing, was looking for details. You had kind of challenged us, just start looking for details. And that's what I did. And I noticed things in Fantasyland that I had never seen before.
Yeah, don't you love that?
Yeah.
And there's so much to see. Like I found the alligator in Fantasyland. I never knew was there.
Where?
I'm not telling.
I think I know what you're talking about.
That's so funny.
He was very near the pig.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was just down from the pig.
Yeah, I had never seen the pig before.
Yeah, I hadn't either.
Which was fun.
People are going, what pig?
Oh, maybe mini meals show up.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. Reveal those spots. Yeah. So, okay. On with your tips.
Well, those were my top
those are your
5
top tips.
Together. I mean, I could keep going. There's so many, but I think I have to put it out there, and this is one that I struggle with as someone who wants to take a photograph of everything, is sometimes just to put the camera down and just like soak it up and soak it in. There's so much, and it's so easy to get caught up in like photographing everything that we forget to like really be there as well.
It's a hard balance. Go ahead, Brittney.
No, I was just gonna say that is a constant balance that you're trying to figure out.
For sure.
Yeah.
To be able to capture all of the memories, but yet still experience too.
Yeah,
everything.
I was going to ask Katrina if she because this is my problem when I'm trying to take pictures in the park is like, I think I do an okay job like doing portraiture of Scarlett, of my daughter, and just like where I have time to think, a little bit. But at Disneyland, I end up coming home and being so frustrated with my pictures sometimes because it's like, when things are happening quickly or like, during a character meet and greet or this moment's happening or that moment's happening, I feel like my brain can't keep up with like, I can't, I panic and I end up messing up my focus and I end up with blurry pictures. And then I didn't even capture the moment at all because it's all blurry. And it's happened to me more times than I want to admit. I feel like, okay, I've been frustrated about this already, but I didn't learn my lesson because I like go into panic mode. So what tips do you have that I can like do better at like those more like, I get, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Like there's just the more action packed moments, I guess, where I'm like, I don't panic and like take awful pictures.
Well, I think one of the things is practice, and this is going to sound like I'm plugging my site, which maybe I am. Practice every day so that you are as familiar as you can be with your camera. So when you get to the really big Disney moment, you already kind of have that knowledge. You're not trying to figure out where the button is right before you get to your time, your moment. And then be okay relying on, like I said, on aperture priority mode if you're familiar with that, or even auto if that is going to give you the photo that you want. And then I think it becomes really important to actually shoot less when you're at Disneyland so that you can think more. So that, as you're in line, you're coming up on the time when your daughter's going to meet someone, or, you're getting close to the time when you're going to get on a ride. Think about what the lighting's going to be like. Think about the shot that you want to get and have your camera ready before you get there so that you're ready to go. I impressed Steph with the carousel photos because I stood at the carousel for half an hour with nobody around dialing in the settings. So I knew exactly what they should be when we got there with the crowd. Now,
which was awesome.
Yeah, because I knew in the moment with all the people around and, everybody kind of in this excitement mode, and we were going to be there later in the afternoon, so it was going to be a little busier. I knew that was not going to be the moment that I wanted to try to get it off the top of my head. And so, practicing for the moment, not fiddling more than you need to. I think sometimes we overuse our cameras and think like every time I take a photo, I need to be changing things. And that's when we really do end up with results that we don't like. Trust your knowledge and just slow it down a little bit.
I think one of the things that I've learned as I've been, trying to learn my camera, trying to learn manual mode and being in the parks is that I really have had to give myself permission to just go back on. I usually do auto without a flash. Is instead of full auto, I just do the auto without a flash because I don't like how the flashes look. And the camera will want to use it all the time on auto mode. And that's when I went to Disney World this last trip in December and we had our daughter with us. the first character meal that we went to, I was trying to do manual mode and I was getting blurry pictures. And I was like, all right, that's it. I'm not going to try and do this. I'm just going to move to auto without a flash so that I for sure have something. And they're,
Right.
I'm not as happy with them as I am when I get the auto settings or the manual mode settings right. But it's something and they're not blurred. And that's, another time when we were
Right.
waiting in line to meet Vanellope and Wreck-It Ralph. I was trying to get the camera all set up in manual mode for the lighting in that area. Well, by the time when we got up there, I didn't realize that they had lights. They had photo lights up for that because they have a big backdrop and everything, and they had photo lights up. And so all of those photos were overexposed. If I just would have put it onto auto without a flash, I would have been okay. Thankfully, there was a PhotoPass photographer there that got some better photos than what I was able to get. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of aperture priority mode, because you can say I want this aperture, and the camera will pick the shutter speed, and you still can get better result than you're going to get in auto, but not have to mess as much as with manual, because it's hard to predict the lighting sometimes, and you don't want to mess it up. I also will practice on other people. So say I was in line for I'm in line for a character, and I can see somebody with the character before we get up there. I will meter off of the person's face who is with the character, shoot their photo, take a look at it on my own LCD, check to make sure that I've got everything right, and then do the same when my son is there. I'm just going to delete the other person, but I know I'm going to be able to get my son's photo right.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Great
Good.
tip.
Thank you. Very helpful.
Does that help?
My other question for Katrina was, how are you liking your BlackRapid strap?
That's a great question.
Because I have one. I have the same strap you have. I saw that when you posted that. I was like, oh, that's my strap. And I want to hear what you think about it.
Well, I think I wrote in that post that I had been using an old cruddy strap that I loved. I'd been using it forever, and it just felt right. And after, now it's been almost a month of shooting with the BlackRapid, I can say that I'm kind of beginning to love it. It took a while to adjust it to the place that I wanted it on my hip. But now it's so easy, and to be able to so quickly pick my camera up and be able to use it, I'm loving that. And then the silly thing that I love is I'm not getting tangled up in all of my stuff anymore. I was forever getting tangled up in my camera strap and my bag strap, or trying to take a sweater off or on, and that's gone. So I'm loving it. I was resistant, but I'm getting over it.
Okay, I need that then, because that's my problem. My biggest problem when I'm at Disney is I get all tangled up in my other bag, my purse, and my sweater. And
yeah,
because it's cool because the strap doesn't move. It's like the little what's it called? The little carabiner kind of on it, like slides up and down the strap. So your strap always stays in place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of whipping your camera up, and it just kind of magically slides. And just took me a while to get my sliding position right. But now I think I've got it dialed in, and it's just so easy stuff. I would say I would highly recommend that you pick one up.
I will get one. For sure. Do you feel a little bit like a cowboy pulling your gun out of your holster?
I do. I sort of do. You just pull it up and slide it back down and lock it in place on your hip. Yep, it's a little holster-ish, I would say that.
Yeah, and I'm totally bad at locking it in place. I never do.
I know. I do when I'm like, I have to make sure I'm doing it, because if I'm leaning over to Scarlett or something, it'll catch it so that it doesn't slide forward and
bang her in the head. Nice. I need that.
Yeah.
My poor son, he's been knocked in the head so many times. Thankfully, he's taller now, so it's not such an issue.
He's getting knocked in the neck and the shoulders instead.
Exactly. And I tell him, you're 7. I've had this camera for 7 years. You should know now, but
yes, you should be used to this.
That's right. It's a hazard. You can move around it.
I'm excited. Katie picked that as a pick a long time ago on the Digi Show too, and so I've been aware of them. I just haven't. I haven't heard feedback where people absolutely love and can't live without it. So I'm excited to
Well, they just the women's version is fairly new.
Yeah,
For a long time.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
No, I think I got my women's one when it very first came out. I think I didn't know that it was brand new when I got it, but
I don't know how long it's been out, but for a long time women were using the men's version, and I just kept hearing that it wasn't comfortable, it didn't fit right, it just didn't work like it does on a man, and so I was really hesitant. But the women's version absolutely does what it needs to do, and is pretty comfortable too.
Nice.
Yeah, because it just has a little bit of a curve, so it doesn't like chop you in half.
Exactly.
Thank you. That's okay. Good. Yes, very well put. Brittney has a way of saying things so much classier than me.
Yeah, and I was just avoiding going there because I
know.
Never say it with tact.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it with tact either. Thank you, Britt. That's perfect. The question everybody wanted to know.
Exactly.
Why is it a women's strap?
There you go. Perfect. I'm excited. I'm going to try it out for sure.
Cool.
So, did you have any other questions for Katrina, Brittney?
Let's see. Oh, I was going to ask. I was reading your post on Capturing Magic about photographing low light in dark rides, and you said that you turn your ISO way up for that. Right. And in my camera, I just have like a XTI or XSI, and it only goes to 1600. And somebody once told me that I should never shoot in 1600 ISO because my photos will always be grainy. And I feel like I learned that when I first got my camera and just kind of locked it away as fact and didn't really ever research it to see if that's true. So I've never shoot in 1600 because I'm always think, oh, it's going to be grainy.
Well, I would test it out first. Every camera is going to treat the grain a little bit differently. And if you have an XTI, you can probably very easily get away with 1600, but test it out, see what your limit's going to be. But remember, in a dark ride, you've got a trade-off. Do you want grain or do you want blur? And for most of us, we don't want blur because you can't tell what the subject is. So you can take a little bit of grain, and in post-processing, you can get rid of quite a bit of that and still have a photo you really love. And what most cameras have, and I know Canon specifically have it, and I think Nikon has something similar, you have the ability in your menus to boost your ISO to an even higher level, and it will I think it's called high in some or even boost. I'd have to look up to see exactly the term. So you actually have an ISO that is available to you that is higher than 1600, which makes then 1600 often not be a bad place to be. So it won't necessarily, you're not necessarily at the limit of your camera. You're just at the limit of what probably is going to look good. So test it out. There are a lot of people out there who will become ISO kind of snotty about going too high, but in low light situations, that's going to be your choice if you want to take a photo.
What do you use in post-processing to get rid of the noise?
I use Lightroom, so I use Lightroom's noise reduction. I also have in the past used in Photoshop, it's a plugin. Oh, and it escapes me now. It's a noise reduction plugin that I paid for.
Let me look and see if I've got one that I paid for too.
I'd have to.
I want to say it's by somebody. Oh, my Photoshop's not open. I thought it was somebody Mark, something or the other.
Yeah, mine's not open either.
I use Lightroom as well, and I just use their default noise reducer, and it does a really good job.
It does. I'm really happy with it. Noiseware is what I use.
Okay.
Noiseware.
Okay, perfect.
But I don't use that much anymore, just because I get really good results with Lightroom.
Me too. I love Lightroom. Now that I can use my Rad Lab in Lightroom, I am such a happy person.
I know. I haven't gone there yet. I need to.
Oh, it'll change your life.
That's what you've said.
You're like, I'm so tired of hearing about that stuff.
I'm ready to change my life. It's okay.
In a very good way.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go in and move into our Pics with Pixie Dust. And I have to take a drink because I'm going to start coughing.
It's contagious.
Dry throat in the wintertime. Yeah, it's scary. Okay. So Pics with Pixie Dust. And let's see, Brittney, do you have one?
Yeah. My pick is actually something I think we've mentioned back on a previous episode, but we didn't really talk about it or link to it or anything like that. But I'm just going to pick Kim Lund's DigiScrap freebies on her blog. She creates the cutest journal cards. They're really graphic, cute journal cards. She uses them for Project Life, but you can use them for just any cute project, any digital scrapbooking, or they're printable. They're just awesome. And she does a bunch of Disney themed ones as well. She has the princess skirt dresses, and they have kind of a little scalloped bottom. They're really cute. And then the main Fab 5 characters, she did some graphic ones of those. And then she has other ones, excuse me.
See, now you caught it too.
I know. Gosh, what is going on? Other ones that have interview kind of journal prompts. Anyway, I'll just link to the category that she puts all her freebies in. You can scroll through. There's only 2 pages to go through, but you can find a whole bunch of Disney printables.
I think she's also got her Scavenger Hunt there as printables too. I want to say her Disney Scavenger Hunt, maybe.
Oh, it's not categorized in the same thing, but I'll look for it.
I might be making it up.
I don't know, but I love her little cards, so you can download those. And
perfect.
She does them all the time. So
yeah, they're super cute. I totally agree with that. She's on our team as well at Capturing Magic. I know she did a post on Capturing Magic about that Scavenger Hunt. So if she does have it as a download, it would probably be linked up in that as well.
Okay, I'll try and look for it to put it in the show notes.
Okay. All right, Katrina, do you have a pick?
I do, and I'm going to have to send you the name of it, and you're going to laugh at me. It is because I originally was going to pick my shoes because I had such good luck with them at Disneyland last weekend, but I'm going to move away from my shoes. I'll save those.
I don't know what your shoes are. Now you've got me intrigued.
Yeah.
My feet always hurt at Disneyland, so I'm always looking to see what people do.
Well, I bought a pair of Dansko shoes, and I wore them for the first time last weekend, which is the wrong thing to do, to wear a brand new pair of shoes to Disneyland. Right. I had absolutely the most comfortable feet that day and the day after. I would totally recommend them. They held up beautifully. My feet feel great. And I'll wear them every time I go from now on.
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah, so that wasn't going to be my pick, but I guess that can be my
sharing. Pick. No, do your pick. That's just sharing.
Too.
Yeah.
Okay. If you have a link or anything to that, send that too so we can see what they are.
I will, and they're vegan too, which always makes me happy. So.
Ooh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, so my vegan shoes. My pick is a brush that Anna Aspinus made, years ago, that it has become my go-to brush for my Disney pages. And unfortunately, I don't remember the name of it. I'll look it up and get it to you, Steph. Okay. And it is just a circular brush, and it's a little bit grungy, but not too much. And I have had the most fun using that brush to make Mickey ears on pages. It's a round brush, but you stamp it 3 times on a digital page, and you get a nice little Mickey look. And it's subtle Mickey, so it doesn't overpower my photos, which I really like, but gets that little bit of Disney magic onto my page.
How fun.
Yeah.
So is it all filled in? Is it a circle brush that's all filled in?
No, it's just the outline. Oh. And I think it's it has coffee in the name. I think it's actually supposed to look like a coffee stain, but it's just this perfect circle, and it's just you put it together with ears and the middle circle, and you've got a nice little Disney, nice little Mickey head.
Fun, very fun.
Yeah.
Okay, my pick is one of the things that I've learned from Katrina, and it's probably one thing that's helped me a lot when I've been at Disney. And that tip, so it's a tip of Katrina's that I'm sharing.
Wow, I like that.
And that is to read your manual and become familiar with your camera manual. So I always take my camera manual with me whenever I go to Disney, and I cannot tell you how many times I've been sitting at a restaurant trying to figure out how to do a certain thing on my camera, turn on the live viewfinder or be able to take a picture of certain things with the live viewfinder on, because with Mini-Me, I'm often in very precarious positions and my camera is in precarious positions. And so being able to do the live viewfinder has been helpful, but it's a lot of different things that I've taken time to look up in my, even just being able to lock certain photos on my memory card so they didn't get deleted, stuff like that. When I'm at Disney, I'll hurry and look up in my manual. It is totally thrashed, but I love having it with me, especially when I'm at Disney.
Well, and can I add to that a little trick that I was taught that is so handy? Almost every camera manual has an online version, and you can grab your PDF and add that to your phone.
Smart.
And then have it on your phone. And it's so much easier to look things up, easier to find things so that you've got it everywhere you go.
And I don't look like a dork in the restaurant looking up stuff in my camera manual.
You just look normal, like, the person obsessed with your phone.
Yes, exactly. And then I don't have to carry my ratty manual around anymore either. You think I would have thought of that tip on my own?
I was waiting for you to say it, actually.
Me too. I was like, she's gonna say like putting the PDF on your phone, right?
Totally. Never occurred to me.
I love it. And in fact, I think I've actually written a post to the Daily Digi about your manual and putting it on your phone.
Oh, that's really funny. Now, yeah, I'm really embarrassed. Just call me out on it. Yeah.
Sorry.
No. I do vaguely remember that. And right as you started talking and you said I have another tip, I'm like, oh, I should put it on my phone. And that's what she's going to say.
Give you.
Yeah. So
everybody has to learn something somewhere.
I know. That's so funny. It would be a lot faster to search on too than
so much faster. Yeah.
Okay. Great tip. Thank you, Katrina.
You're welcome. That was my 3-tip day.
Yeah. Steph's pick turned into third pick.
I know, and I thought I didn't even have one an hour ago.
That's so funny. 3. Yep. Okay, let's go around one more time and remind our listeners where to find you and any news that you have to share. Brittney?
I am at britishdesigns.com, and that's where you can find my shop and my blog and links to our social media places. I recently released a Tinkerbell kit called Pretty Pixie. It's really cute.
So cute.
And we'll have new products next week. So
perfect. I'm excited to see what you have coming out. It'll be fun.
Yep.
Katrina?
I am at captureyour365.com, and Your Kids Captured Through the Lens starts today, and registration will be open through Friday.
Perfect. I am Steph, and you can find me at thedailydigi.com. You can also find me at capturingmagic.me. And I also want to mention our iPhone apps that we have out. You can find them in the App Store. And if you just do a search on Capturing Magic or go to capturingmagic.me and click there on the iTunes link on the blog, and it'll go right to the store. We have one for Disneyland and Disney World. And I used it a ton while I was at Disneyland this past week, and it was super fun to go and be with a group of people, some who had never been to Disney before, and just work the heck out of that iPhone app, and it did its job. So it's really good. Yeah. So I think that's all, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and you can find us here again next week where we will be capturing magic.